Learning without college is 10 times faster, actually. The whole system is backwards. You pay to be told things you can find online for free. You pay to take tests no employer checks. You pay to spend 4 years in lecture halls while the real world moves past you. Meanwhile, the kid who skipped college went straight to work, got hired first, paid more, and already making 6 figures while you're still taking finals. 3 reasons why dropouts win. Each one exposes the scam your college was built on. Chapter 1. Knowledge is free. Understanding isn't. Einstein kept a photograph of Michael Faraday on the wall of his personal study, right next to Newton and Maxwell. The man on that wall had no college degree, he couldn't do calculus. He spent 7 years of his life gluing books for a living. He invented the electric motor anyway. Now ask yourself how. Because it wasn't about knowledge. Knowledge has been free for a very long time. Every textbook you'll ever open is sitting online as a PDF. Every Harvard lecture is on YouTube. The gap between a Stanford freshman and a kid with a laptop in his bedroom is not what they know. They know the same things. So if knowledge isn't the difference, what is? Here's what Faraday figured out that his credentialed peers never did. There are 2 ways to learn something new. You can memorize what you're told, which is the easy way, or you can keep asking why the thing is true piece by piece until you could explain it to a 10-year-old in plain language. That's the hard way. The first gets you graded, the second gets you paid. Only one of those still matters once the syllabus is gone. That's exactly what separated Faraday from the credentialed physicists who laughed at him when he proposed the idea of an electromagnetic field. Those men had all the math and all the degrees. What they didn't have was the habit of looking directly at how nature behaved and trying to make sense of it. Their equations always answered that question for them, so they never needed to develop the skill. Faraday had no equations to fall back on. When he watched a magnet move a wire, he had to figure out what was happening with nothing but his own eyes and his own head. The electromagnetic field came out of that. That rejected idea is now the foundation of every physics equation in the modern world. The bookbinder was right. The credentialed men were wrong. That's why Einstein kept his photograph. I ran into my own version of this in engineering school. Second year, the professor told us to buy specific drawing boards and learn how to do engineering drawings by hand. I asked him why we were learning this when every company in the real world already uses AutoCAD. His answer was, well, what if there isn't an AutoCAD? How are you going to do it? If civilization collapses so badly that AutoCAD stops existing, hand drawings will be the last of my problems. But that was his best defense. The professor had never been asked why the exercise built any real engineering skill, and it was clear he had never asked himself either. It was just the thing engineering school does. He was just following a syllabus. This thing has a name. The recognition trap. College trains you to recognize information. You see a formula in a textbook and your brain says, I know this because it looks familiar. But familiarity is not understanding. Your brain just thinks it is. And college is charging you 6 figures to make information look familiar to you, which is the easy part. The actually understanding part, the part that lets you use any of it, when the textbook is not in front of you anymore, you are supposed to figure out on your own. Most people never do. They graduate fluent in recognition and broken in reasoning. Complete nonsense. Later in this video, I'll give you a 1-page system that replaces all of this. Scam 1 cost you your understanding, but this next scam costs you your nerve. Chapter 2. The test that doesn't matter. Jan Koum made Facebook sign a $19 billion check on the front steps of a government building where his family used to line up for free food. He chose that spot on purpose. The reason will hit different once you have the whole story, but you have to start 7 years earlier. In 2007, Jan applied to Facebook. They rejected him. Twitter rejected him the same year. Facebook never actually looked at Jan's code. They looked at a resume, saw no computer science degree, and threw it out. A degree is just a record of passing the right tests. Jan had skipped those tests to teach himself instead. That rejection should have crushed him. For most people it would have. But Jan walked out of it totally unfazed. And the reason has a name. It is the same thing psychologists say is quietly running in your brain right now. Every test you have ever taken was secretly measuring one thing. Your willingness to wait until you are absolutely certain before committing. Guess wrong, lose points. Guess right, gain nothing extra. The math is obvious, so you stop guessing. You only commit when the answer is safe. After 20 years of that, safety becomes your identity. That is what psychologists call the identity trap. Jan Koum never developed it, and the reason comes down to his childhood. When you grow up poor enough that your family lines up at a government office just to eat, a tech company saying no does not register. So while the straight A kids at Stanford were frozen, terrified of raising their hands in class, Jan was building a messaging app in his apartment and shipping it straight to real people. The market decided whether it was any good. No professor in the loop to soften the blow. Over 2 billion people use WhatsApp today. Tests grade you on one clean attempt. Real life grades you on what you do after the rejection. Facebook said no.